the Eurozone, the European Union just passed a peculiar law criminalizing hate speech and xenophobia. Does that mean it's going to be necessary for the Netherlands to leave the Eurozone in order to maintain any kind of semblance of freedom of speech?
Well, unfortunately, the Dutch already have the terrible hate speech laws. So my country already has. I'm standing trial in Amsterdam nowadays, today, because of the hate speech laws we already have. So I agree that the European Union, but also the United Nations, the General Assembly of the United Nations, and the influence of the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Conference, is making the most terrible resolution and is making the most terrible laws in order to prevent people like me, but many others as well, to speak the truth, because they are afraid of the truth. So what do people do nowadays? The political elites in Europe, in the United Nations, and many governments all over the free Western world, they want to silence people critical about the Islamization of our societies. They do that by A, calling them xenophobes or racist, B, ignoring the problem, and C, getting them to court. So besides the fact that people who are critical for Islam get fatwa, get death threats, they also have now the European Union, the United Nations, their respective governments trying to silence them in a legal way. But the good news is that the people are not fooled anymore by the lies of the political elite that says that multiculturalism, that cultural relativism, that the story, the fairy tale that all cultures are equal, that Christianity and Judaism is on the same level as Islam, as you know, which is complete nonsense. People are not fooled by it anymore, and people believe that there should be a change, and this is one of the reasons that, for instance, my party in the Netherlands, but also in many other countries, are successful, even though those kind of terrible hate speech laws are being enacted all over the free world, as in Canada as well, by the way, today.
So what kind of legislative changes are going to be necessary in Holland in order to preserve genuine free speech, as well as, well, basically prevent the kinds of trials that we see taking place with your trial and with Lars Hedegaard, for instance, and of course we've seen in Canada with our human rights commissions.
Yes.
What would you propose as being good legislative changes to ensure genuine freedom of speech?
Well, once again, free speech is the cornerstone of democracy. Without being able to speak the truth as one sees it, it's the end of democracy. It's the end of everything that we stand for. So the most important thing is to enlarge free speech in our societies. And I am very much in favor, an advocate of the introduction of the American First Amendment kind of laws in the whole free Western world. You can say whatever you like, and there is one restriction, and that is that you should not incite to violence. And that should still be punishable by law, and I think nobody with some common sense would be against that. But we should have in the Netherlands a kind of First Amendment in the whole free world. We should have in Canada this crazy committees of commissions. I heard friends saying it's like they call it here a kangaroo court, where people are not even allowed to say anything critical about Islam, and they are taken to some kind of tribunal, which is not even a penal code kind of tribunal, but another tribunal. And this is, once again, that should be stopped. I hope that today here in Canada, that with the majority now of the Conservative government, that one of the first steps that they will take is abolish this crazy system of hate speech laws and of those committees and commissions. And I hope that at the end of the day in Europe we will find that speaking the truth is more important than anything else, and we will get American-like First Amendment in all our free societies.
Well, certainly many of us here hope that as well.
Yes.
I've heard you speak a number of times about banning the Quran in Holland. I was wondering, is that because Dutch law already makes Mein Kampf illegal?
Yes, yes, we have it in our party program. I advocated it in the Dutch Parliament, not because we are in the habit of banning books. That would be on the contrary of my fight for more freedom of speech and the First Amendment. But in the Dutch context, a few decades ago, the book Mein Kampf, this terrible, horrible book by Hitler, was outlawed, and that was even sanctioned to the Dutch Supreme Court. And the left and the liberals were silent. They enjoyed it. There was not one politician from the left and the liberal who said, this is a shame, we should overrule it and make it possible that people can buy it. So I tried to expose their double standard. And I told them in the debate, listen, here I have another book. And another book called, a book from a totalitarian ideology, a book from Islam called the Quran. If you look at the content, the same articles that were used for outlawing Mein Kampf are valid now even still today, according to your own laws and hate speech laws and the laws that you are so fond of. If you look at Mein Kampf, for instance, and you compare it with the Quran, and you look at anti-Semitism, especially in the Medina part of the Quran, there is more anti-Semitism in the Quran than Mein Kampf, so it's even worse. And of course, the left did not applaud, they were silent. I made my point that I exposed it, and I put forward in my program that we should outlaw the Quran as we did Mein Kampf. And don't forget, I don't know how it's here, but in Europe, the Netherlands, we started this hate speech laws just after the Second World War. And those laws were used at that time, understandable, because people did not want a repetition of anti-Semitism after the Second World War. But now we did not have any Muslim immigration or Islamic immigration at all at that time. And now we see that those laws that were taken into act to prevent anti-Semitism are now used for 99.9% to silence people who are critical about Islam, who have not, like me, I have nothing against Muslims. I fight not against the people, I fight against the ideology. And I'm silenced now by laws that were taken into effect for a total different reason.
Understood. Thank you. Now, Islam and Muslims itself, massive Muslim immigration into Europe. I think most Canadians have a view of Holland as being a near libertarian paradise in many ways. Very, very tolerant and diverse in many ways, and easygoing. And how would you say that massive Islamic immigration has affected Holland in terms of its tolerance toward gay people or toward other minorities?
Yes. Well, the Muslim immigration changed everything. The immigration from Muslim countries. Don't forget, Islam has only one goal, and that is to dominate, to be dominant, whether it's by persuasion, by intimidation, or by using force. This is the core business of the Islamic ideology, to dominate. That's why it's not so much a religion, and that's why it's a totalitarian ideology. It wants to dominate, it wants to rule every aspect of one's life in a society, and that's why it should not be compared, according to me, with other religions like Christianity or Buddhism or Judaism, but it should be compared to other totalitarian ideologies like fascism or communism. It's tough to say, but it's true. If you were under the fascist time against fascism, you had a very tough time. If you were under the Stalin time of communism against communism, you were sent to Siberia. If you are under Muslim and Islamic rule against Islam, or you will leave Islam, you get even the death penalty. So it's a totalitarian ideology. If you look at Europe today, you see everywhere, in almost every country, and many cities in each country, you see that there is a state within a state. There is a law and then a law. You see that whether it's apostates, people who leave Islam, that they are being threatened and killed. You see that homosexuals in my own country, in Amsterdam, are beaten up on a regular basis, and often more than 50% by Islamic youth. You see honor killings. You see genital mutilations by young girls. You see the introduction of Sharia. We have Sharia courts in the United Kingdom today. You have in the Netherlands courts, normal courts, just Dutch courts that act according to the Iranian law. We had not so long ago a high court in Holland that ordered that couple that divorced because of the fact that they were married in Iran. In the Netherlands, the higher court decided that the woman would get nothing out of the marriage because Iranian law, which is Sharia law, is applicable. So on every aspect of their life, you see the changes, and the people are fed up with it. The common people see the changes. They see the changes. Bus drivers, women in the bus are being called whores for no reason. So the people are fed up with it, they see the changes, they don't feel in their own society again. They have nothing against the people, but they have something against the domination and the violence that Islam and the culture brings along with it, and it changes Europe. Don't ever think that what is happening in Europe today will not happen to Canada tomorrow. It is happening here, and it will happen even more here today. So be wise would be my modest advice to prevent it happening as worse as it is in Europe today.
Thank you. Last question,
yes.
if I may. You know, the Eurozone, the European currency may well collapse. There's rumors that some nations want to pull out of the euro. And given that immigrants, especially Islamic immigrants in the Netherlands, are overwhelmingly on public support, they're on state benefits. If that were to collapse, how do you see that playing out? Like, do you foresee a problem if all of a sudden the state is unwilling to stop paying massive benefits to all of these Islamic immigrants?
Yes. Well, we made a survey as my political party because we asked last year the government, please let us know how much the immigration, the mass immigration from non-Western countries, they are, as a matter of fact, mostly Islamic countries, but from non-Western countries, how much does it cost the Dutch taxpayer? And the government refused. They said, we will not go into this question of the Party for Freedom because it's almost a kind of racist question. So we hired an independent bureau. It cost us a lot of money, but we did it anyway. And we asked them, what will it cost? And the result was that every year again, in the Netherlands, a relatively small country, the immigration of non-Western immigrants cost taxpayers 7.2 billion euro. I believe here in Canada, I've been told by some colleagues from your parliament, it's something like $20 billion a year. So 7.2 billion, because they are indeed, they are overrepresented in social benefits, they are overrepresented in schemes when it comes to crime, to everything. So we have an enormous problem there, and the public is not willing to pay for it that much anymore. We can spend it on more police, we can spend it on better life for the elderly who deserve a better life than they have today. Well, the Eurozone is something entirely different. I believe that even though my party supports the minority government of the Netherlands, and we get a lot of it in return for that, we do not support the Dutch government on the fact that they keep on paying every time again to countries that made a mess of it. Look at Greece. The Greek government lied for decades about their financial situation. And now we, the Dutch, with other European countries, EMU countries, are paying to the Greek, to the Portuguese, to the Irish, whereas they made a mess of their own country. So I would be very much in favor if those countries would leave the Eurozone tomorrow. Let them deal with their own business. It can even be an advantage for them, because if they use the Eurozone, they can even use the deflation of their currency and get a stronger position. We don't have to pay for them anymore. Unfortunately, my government is not on that position yet, but as you know what is happening to Greece today, if you read the papers, the European Union once again is giving them perhaps another new loan, and this has to stop. We are giving money to countries that made a mess of it. We have to pay the price. It's not good for the Dutch system, it's not good for our employment, it's not good for our financial situation. We should stop that as soon as possible. Unfortunately, after the new European Treaty, we cannot force countries to leave the European Union. In a worst case scenario, we could ourselves leave the European Union. I think if that happens, we should do that with other countries that are stronger in a financial kind of way. But Europe is a big mess. The European currency is a big mess. On immigration, it's a big mess. Don't forget that the Italian government, not so long ago, when refugees, so-called refugees, but they are all economical refugees, came to Italy, the Italian government gave them visas for the whole of Europe, so even the French and the Germans started to check at their borders again. So Europe is a big mess. Europe is a totally failed construction, and I think it's good, because identity has to do with also with immigration. in the process of becoming more a federal Europe, we lost a sense of identity. And I'm very much in favor of getting back this sense of member states. I'm Dutch, I'm not a European. The French is a French and not a European. And in order to solve the problem of the identity crisis that we have, like I said, in the past, politicians fooled the public that all cultures are equal and all countries are equal. Nowadays, a lot of people don't know anymore who we are, what is the Christian and the Judaistic heritage and culture and values. People don't know that anymore because we went up in this total nasty European big organization. People don't know who they are, and if you don't know who you are, you don't know what you are not, and you don't know what you should fight against. So even though it's very bad what's happening in Greece, you can see some advantages, because I'm sure that a lot of the electorate, unlike the leaders, will be fed up with the European perspective more and more every day.
Okay, Wouters, thank you so very much for talking.
It's my pleasure.
I look forward to
Thank you
hearing
so
your
much.
speech tonight.
Yes, thank you so much.